Hey everyone, Sycra here, and today I don't know if I'm doing a speed sketch necessarily. I mean, it's sketchy and it's fast, but it's more coloring. I'm doing a speed color, but I'm probably gonna rename the video Speed Sketch. Um, and people who've followed me on DeviantArt, maybe they see some of my recent stuff and they were wondering how it's done. Well, this is kind of how it's done if you can get anything out of it, because I'm not going to be going in depth into the whole process, because pretty much it's exactly like the simple and effective cell shading in Photoshop tutorial that I made earlier. I would just paint at the end, and really I can't make a tutorial about painting because painting comes from fundamentals. And if you don't know your fundamentals, watching someone who does know them doesn't really teach you anything. The stuff you can teach is like, well, step one, you should do this, and step two, you should do that. But in terms of things like, well, where do shadows go? Or, those kind of things, it's hard to teach that quickly anyway, and it's usually better to have a lot of practice when doing that. So anyway, yeah, just coloring some pencil sketches because I don't have a whole lot of time, and I figured I didn't have time to do a painting video, so maybe just a sketching video. Anyway, I wanted to say thank you to all my audience people who had left comments, especially in the video about when I showed my my year of studies. I got a lot of people offering some helpful feedback, and it's cool because I'm supposed to be teaching you, but you guys are teaching me stuff too. But anyway, so one of the things was that people kept saying, you need more confidence in things, and it's, yeah, that's true. And I was talking to my friend Cynics, and he said that maybe I don't need to do all these studies and rather just paint and change or draw and like change it until it looks right. And I've tried that before, and it does work, but I don't know, I somehow stopped it because I sort of felt, well, but I don't know anything more than what I already know, and I want to know more than what I already know. But actually, you can go really far with just thinking about, like, well, what looks right, and does it look right? The difficulty, I think, with that is that you need to have sort of an objective perspective, and you need to be able to develop that. Because usually I've seen, and this is something I had myself, when you're looking at someone else's art, it's really easy to see all the problems. And not just that, you can probably even correct the things that are wrong. Like, oh, that hand is wrong because the fingers are too short, or this needs to be moved like that. And then when you're looking at your own work, it's very hard to miss that. And so I think Cynics' advice is very good. And I don't know, it took me a while to just be okay with, like, okay, yeah, let's just do that. But that's what I started to do. But I still wasn't super confident. And then my buddy Jet from the Jetty Jet show, and Cynics is from the Cynics channel. He's got his own YouTube channel, and both of them are very good YouTube artists and also good friends. And Jet was telling me that he really liked a picture I had done in the study thing. He liked one I had done maybe, I don't know, 6 months ago, something like that. And it was a time when I was just playing around and doing my own thing. And when I would do my own thing, it sort of felt like, well, I'm doing my own thing to learn this, to practice this coloring technique. And then once I've got the coloring technique down, then I can do other things like, I don't know, fan art or other, I don't know, like the thing is, okay, I look at art and I see art I admire, and maybe it's like because I like a lot of manga art and even Western art too. But I see what they've done, and it's like, oh, that's cool. I guess that's sort of what I should do. And then I do it, and it doesn't work. It's like there's a conflict. So, for example, I was doing this manga anime girl, and she's wearing like a maid outfit. And I just couldn't nail the maid outfit, so I had to do studies of the maid outfit, and it still wasn't working well. And it felt like I was hitting this block. And when Jet told me he liked this other picture, it was like, oh, well, that's because I'm not doing like maid outfits and things. I'm just doing stupid, crazy outfits I'm just making up. And that made it easier. And then I started to think like, well, like a maid outfit technically isn't harder than figuring out most of the muscles of the human body, right? So there's a reason I'm stopping, or not stopping, but not progressing. And I finally figured it's because I'm not doing what I want to do. I'm doing what I think I should do. Like, I almost feel like, okay, so I develop my style, and then I'll do these type of images in my style, and then people will look at it and be like, oh, that's cool. And I also, on the flip side, think, well, but if I actually did what I think is cool, people will probably think, oh, that's not cool. So don't do that, but do your own thing. And so after Jet said he liked that one, I was like, huh, you know what? I like that one too. So I'm just going to do that now. I'm just going to do things I like, and I'm not going to worry if everyone else thinks it's horrible. So that's what I've started to do now. And this picture that you're seeing right now, and oh, I should mention before, the coolest thing on the side, you might notice that it's all light, and it's got like all these light colors. That's because I just changed the gamma on it, or I used a mask, so all the colors are shifted to a light spectrum. It's not a big deal. It's pretty easy to do in Coolerus. And if you're wondering what Coolerus is, it's the color wheel thing on the top right side. Anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, I started doing that more. And yeah, so this one isn't a great success, I would say, and I really would have scrapped it if I had the time, and I would have done more. But it's this thing of just doing what I want to do, even if it's kind of like, maybe I think other people won't like it. And I think when I reflect upon life and everything that has made me unhappy or not very successful, it seems like every time I'm not being true to myself, that's when I get into problems. The thing is, I have this huge fear that if I am true to myself, then I'll be rejected. And it's because of past experience where people may say like, oh, you don't have to worry about that. That's not going to happen. But yeah, it kind of does a lot. And I think the thing is just to accept that, you know what, being true to yourself might mean that a lot of people don't like you. But it's better than trying to conform to something you're not, because that's just, you never get anywhere. And you might not piss people off in a way, you might not be offensive, but you're never doing anything really good. You're never doing anything really unique. And so you're not really living up to your potential. But when you are true to yourself, you are living up to your potential. And you're moving forward. And I don't know, for me anyway, it just feels much, much better to just do what I want to do. But the thing is, I'm so used to trying to please other people that I have to watch it now. I have to be really careful about getting influenced by people, because like what'll happen is I'll make a piece of art and then I'll post it, and then people might respond to it well or not, or they might offer a suggestion like, oh, you could try this. And then I look at that and it's like, oh yeah, I could do that. And then I do that and it's moving away from what I really want to do, but I'm sort of like, yeah, that's okay. And then someone mentions something else and it's like, oh yeah, I could do that too. And or maybe I don't know how to do that. Maybe I should learn how to do that. And then I get distracted and I end up way far from where I wanted to be. So that's what I'm really trying to not do. Or someone will like a piece and then I almost feel obligated to create a similar piece to that piece that I just created, because it's like, well, people like this, let me do another one. Or even when I think, oh, what should I draw next, I'm thinking like, oh, well, just I'm running through the image that I just created. And I think that's terrible as well, because it creates this expectation on yourself that you don't need. So instead, what I do is, in my professional life, when I'm doing work, contract work, freelance, that's what I do for clients, I'm always putting my work out, and then I give it to the client, then they make their suggestion, then I change it, then they make their suggestion, then I change it, and all that's how it goes. And I started to think, what if I was my client? Because right now what I was, or before what I was doing is I would look at my stuff and then I would look at other professional work and I would say, okay, so where am I and how far am I from this work that I admire? And so, for instance, the whole reason I went into inking is because I saw a lot of art that was done inked and it looked really nice. And it's like, yeah, my work doesn't look that nice. It doesn't look that clean and it doesn't look that professional. Okay, let me ink and learn how to do that, because it's not something I'm really comfortable with. It's not something I know how to do. So I did it. And then when I think of myself as a client, though, it's like, well, what do you really like? Actually, I don't really care about inking. I like pencil sketches. I like paintings where you see the pencil sketch underneath. It's like, well, okay, we'll do that. And it sounds simple, but it's something that I never considered doing, just being my own client. And so what I'm doing now is I'm trying to do that. Whenever I'm drawing, I'm asking myself these questions like, what would you do different? Or what would the client, which is still me, do differently? And usually it's like, I don't know, I wouldn't really use a shape like that. Or I would push this shape further. Or it's like, I make a line, it's like, that line looks cool. And then I adjust it because I think, like for this guy, for instance, his head is really narrow and small, right? So when I was first drawing it, I was correcting that, and then it started looking worse, and it's like, no, I like it narrow, keep it narrow. It's like, really? You want me to make it narrow? Okay, I'll make it narrow. So anyway, I'm just listening to my own self and letting that be my client. I don't know if this makes any sense. I'm sorry if it doesn't. The main point is thank you for all of the comments and the support, because I do read them, even if I don't have time to reply to all of them. I try to. Maybe I don't even read all of them, but I try to. So thanks very much, and thanks for watching.